Well, I'm not surprised about these particular coon sellouts right here. Jason Whitlock, Candace Owens chide black people and white liberals to defend Joe Rogan. If you're familiar with my work, then you know of my contempt for black conservatives. Now, white conservatives will cite this as evidence that I believe black people should be a monolith, but that narrative ignores two things. The simplistic left versus right paradigm was created by white people when truthfully ideology has always been much more fluid than that. And white conservatives had the same contempt for white liberals that black people have for black right wingers. Well, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I don't care for no politics, but I'm still learning about it. And politics truly has nothing to do with black people. It is just an excuse white people use to try to push their narrative. And these, like I said, these are your typical coons right here who gonna come to the defense of their white masters. If we up here conservative ideology, we shouldn't. Why shouldn't we hate the black people who champion it, just as I hate the white people who do? Anyway, there are two black conservatives I consider the worst above all others, Jason Whitlock and Candace Owens, because they are two generic house Negroes from House Negro Depot who make it a point to never pass up a chance to uphold whiteness at the expense of black people. They will always serve as white people's resident black friends as long as there's a trending topic that affords them the opportunity to do so. So, of course, they're both throwing capes on for Joe Rogan. Let's start with Whitlock because Boo does his lives auction Uncle Ruckus despite the blackness. This is hilarious.
Comedian and podcaster Joe Rogan, he said the N-word. He is white. He is not allowed to use the N-word. The steroid for comedy, music, and other forms of entertainment. The N-word is part of a reparations package that black people negotiated with the Ku Klux Klan and other white liberals following the Democrats' failure to support the Emancipation Proclamation and the ending of Jim Crow laws. White liberals now serve as the N-word police. They enforce black people's exclusive right to denigrate and define themselves with the word. The N-word is Bitcoin for black people. It's our most prized possession. Popular black comedians and rappers treat it like an American Express card. They wouldn't think of taking the stage or hitting the recording booth without it. Black violent criminals frequently use the word when killing or assaulting a black victim. Black people use it to show other black people that they're really black and not uppity black. There's seemingly nothing more authentically black than calling yourself and other black people the N-word. I like Joe Rogan, but I'm just sorry. That apology is embarrassing. It's dishonest. It's beneath him. I'm so tired of this game we keep playing with the N-word. Oh my God. That is the exclusive property of black people. That is their word. They can use it. We can't. And I understand that now. Oh my God. I culturally appropriated the N-word. I mean, don't you realize that when black people say it, it's perfectly okay? But if I even just utter the word and repeat the fact that someone else said it, I mean, my God, coming off the lips of a white person, it's just so painful. This is all a BS game that's being played. I wish Joe Rogan, who's got a ton of money, a ton of support, I wish he had the balls to call BS on all of this. But I'm dreaming. Can we cut this out? I mean, honestly. It is so obvious what is being done here. No one's offended when they hear the N-word. You may get in a fight or arguing with somebody and they'll call you the N-word. And yes, you may be offended when people use it, but black people use it as a pejorative. They use it to threaten and intimidate other black people. They use the word negatively, we do, far more than we do positively. But the N-word doesn't offend me based on the race of the person using it. If the intent is the same, I don't care what race they are. And the N-word denigrates black people, regardless of who's speaking it. Joe Rogan repeating it in context, not using it as a pejorative, does not offend anyone, does not harm black people, is not an indication of what's wrong with America. It's not why Brian Flores got fired by the Miami Dolphins.
Well, you heard it out. You heard it out his own mouth. Jason Whitlock, a very well-known sellout, defending Joe Rogan, and most of us do know that Joe Rogan is a prick and a racist prick at that. And it's funny how you always see all these racist pricks are the ones with money. Now, I had a habit of using the N-word consistently because of my ignorance. And I used to think it was exclusively our word until I started doing research about it. And it is not our word. It was a word that was used to denigrate us by the slave masters. So then I question my people, why are we still using a word that denigrates us? What purpose is it serving us? There's nothing positive if you replace the ER with an A. It's meant to be negative. And make no mistake, Joe Rogan was not using it out of context. He used it exactly as he said it. And then had the audacity to call black people Planet of the Apes. And you mean to tell me you got black people defending this shit? What kind of black people defends being disrespected? And here go Candace Owens. I mean, I really much don't care for The Rock. I really don't care for Candace Owens. One of the biggest sellouts I've ever seen in politics. Always talking about black issues, but she's married to a white man with a half-breed baby. Could wait to say something about this. Could wait to defend this white man. Because that's what she's paid to do. I don't even want to read none of her tweets because it's a bunch of bullshit. And I was really disappointed with India Ari. She talking about that Joe Rogan is not racist. And this is her belief, out of her own mouth. She did an interview. You can look it up for yourself. She pulled her music off of Spotify, but she still defended Joe Rogan. Like I said, Joe Rogan ain't doing nothing no different than any other white man. We'll let him tell it he's Italian. So what the fuck does that mean? As far as I'm concerned, all Europeans are the same. I don't give a fuck about where part of Europe you're from. You could be from Italy. You could be from France. You could be from Great Britain. You could be from the Netherlands. You all white. As far as I'm concerned, Joe Rogan is a prick, always been one, and will always be a prick. He's a racist bastard, making millions off of black people who watches his show. Because make no mistake, you got black people who watches this show. I didn't even hear about this bastard until about a week ago. I don't care for using the N word. And there should be no black person who uses the N word because it's not meant to be positive. It was a word that was used during slavery to degrade us, to make us feel less than nothing. So apparently, there are still most of us who feel less than nothing, and that's why we continuously use the N word. And I had looked at an article with what Fat Joe saying something against the N word, but he's a motherfucker who used the N word in his music, and nobody said no black person said anything about that. So that shows you how much Fat Joe gives a fuck about black people. Fat Joe don't give a fuck about no black people. He just trying to make himself feel relevant. He used the N word in all damn near most of his songs, but yet no black people said anything about it. Come on, man. We got to be smarter than this. As long as we keep using the N word as black people, they're going to keep using it too. And then when we confront them about it, oh, you taking it out of context. Any black person that's against using the N word, I salute you. That means you have pride and dignity in our race. And those of us who don't have pride and dignity, that's exactly what you are. The N word. You can like, comment, and subscribe to the video. Let me know what you think.